Our policy at A1 Integrity to always be wearing a harness whenever we're doing any type of roof work. So if you're getting on the roof, you need to be wearing a harness. When you are wearing a harness and when you are working on a roof, like one of the main things that you want to avoid is the pendulum effect. That would be the effect that if you do fall, you fall over here, but your anchor point's way over here, then when you do end up falling this way, and then hitting a whole bunch of stuff on the way down, probably not very fun. You have to be aware and understanding of that effect. There are certain situations where you can use a safety watch system. Only on low pitch roofs can you have a competent individual supervising a person who's working on the roof, and they don't have to be in fall protection. There aren't very many situations where that applies to us. Best bet, get your fall protection on. All jobs that we do, we need to have a job safety work plan. Those are located in the share file. All those plans are located in the share file. Fall protection is your duty. Your duty to make sure that all of the equipment that we have is in good working order. If there is anything that needs attention, that it's switched out, that it's tagged with duct tape, we'll talk about what the problem actually is, and then we'll get a new piece of equipment out there that's safe. And this is your responsibility to make sure that the office knows. Something that we've already talked about, but because this is a fall protection module, is ladder fall protection, ladder safety. Now, when working from a ladder, you don't need to wear fall protection gear unless you're at a height of 25 feet or more. That's a working height of 25 feet or more, which only applies to a 40-foot ladder fully extended, reaches to a height of 26 vertical feet of working height. So if you're working from a 40-foot ladder fully extended, fall protection is required. Fall protection as it pertains to working on ladders, avoid carrying materials up and down the ladder whenever possible. If you can, a hoisting system would be ideal. 3 points of contact must be maintained at all times while climbing or working from a ladder. So keep that in mind. 3 points of contact. The biggest aspect of fall protection is just coming up with a safety plan. Being smart about it, being aware of it, and then communicating that to your coworkers. Hey, gotta demonstrate how to roll up. This is what it's gotta look like. I'm gonna show you how to get it there. When these ropes are rolled up really nicely, it's really easy just to get it going. Give it a good toss out there. And as you're rolling it back up, just get good sections. So basically, you're looking to get it into a loop, just like that. You're gonna have a trailing end. Really, the more you have on the trailing end, the more times you can wrap it around and basically create a tighter rope. Make sure it's tight as you're doing it. Push through, just fold it up like that, and then push it through, and then pop that through. And what that does is it just creates tension. Now, if you just had your figure 8 knot in the end of that, even better, because then you can hang it if you need to. But if you don't have the figure 8, you can just do a half hitch. Half hitch, hang it, it's not going anywhere. Alright, remember, ropes should look like this. They should be pretty durable. See, if your rope can't stand up to that after all that flipping around, then you did it wrong. Alright, so what we didn't talk about was the ropes. One knot that you need to learn, and that is figure 8. Sometimes we put it on a bite. It's really easy. Look it up on YouTube. Plenty of very good tutorials on how to tie this knot. About 18 inches. And then all you do is you just fold it up over on itself, around and back up through the hole. So, and that's the 8. And then basically you just pull it tight. Alright, let's talk about fall protection equipment. So every truck should be rigged with, you know, everything that a crew needs to get on a roof and do it safely. We're going to have 2 harnesses, 2 lanyards, we're going to have 2 rope grabs, and then carabiners and ropes. You're going to have 2 harnesses like this, 2 harnesses, and then you're going to have 2 sets of lanyards like these. 2 sets of these 3-foot lanyards, non-shock absorbing. We don't need them. Those are only for high-rise type stuff. And then the rope grabs. The rope grabs are probably the most important part of the equation. Carabiners for fall protection from a roof. Don't need the steel carabiners. Just regular aluminum carabiners should work just fine. But if you do have a locking carabiner, this locking carabiner is a little bit tricky. So if you watch, you just got to twist this and then you pull it open. These are really heavy duty carabiners. You don't need them on roofs. This is the carabiner you should probably have in those kits. This carabiner happens to just be an aluminum 22 kilonewton carabiner. So super simple to use. That's all. 22 kilonewtons is this way. If you're not paying attention, you have the ropes going like this somehow, you're gonna be effed. So this is our introduction to fall protection for service techs. And fall protection is defined as any situation where you are within 6 feet of a fall hazard that's 4 foot tall or more. Always, every time, no matter what, if you're in a boom lift, you have to have fall protection on and attached. Otherwise, game over. You're in big trouble. So there's 4 types of fall protection. One is perimeter guarding. Perimeter guarding is when a railing on a deck, that's perimeter guarding. Fall arrest is equipment that stops you after you've fallen. That equipment has to have shock absorbing capabilities. And fall restraint, think of a dog on a leash. This is a system that keeps you from falling, so it doesn't allow you to fall because a rope basically keeps you away from the edge. And then a warning line system has to be 10 feet away from the fall hazard, and it might consist of, you know, a barrier line, like some type of orange rope or caution tape or something like that. Outside of that, we want to talk about how to put the harness on. We want to talk about like the important aspects of the harness. So I'm gonna show you, we're gonna demonstrate right now how the harness should fit, how to put it on. Sometimes a little easier than others, but you should be able to figure it out after 1 or 2 tries. This might be a problem because it's in selfie mode, so I might just have to pull that. Reversed. Anyway, Stefan here is going to demonstrate what the harness looks like as it's on. So you want to have it tight right through here, not so tight that you can't move around or anything like that. This one has a D-ring, a chest rig on the front, which would be really helpful when you're working, you know, when you're doing high-rise window cleaning, which is not what this is about. But if you're on a roof, like, you can easily use this as your main fall protection on your harness and not have to like reach behind you to try to find, you know, where your thing is to move around. So if you turn around, this is, you know, where primarily you're going to attach your lanyard. Sometimes you might need your buddy to help you attach, but these are double locking, so you know you have to push it in this one first and then that one, and that's pretty standard for every single lanyard that you'll see. This particular lanyard is a 3-foot non-shock absorbing lanyard. The shock absorbing lanyards will have, you know, a protrusion usually right about here that will be thick, and it's designed to pull and then like an accordion expand and absorb the shock. So to attach, you know, the double locking, you'll just connect it right there, and then you'd be able to connect, for instance, like your rope, or connect yourself to whatever it is that's protecting you from your fall. Likewise, if Steph turns around, we can attach to the front if that's more, you know, an easier option. So that is how you would connect your lanyard to your harness. Here we've got the leg straps. Now he's going to demonstrate how to attach the leg straps, but you need it to be relatively tight, but not so tight that it cuts off circulation. If you fall, you don't want to fall out of your harness. that's pretty easy. Some of the other ones are locking. So some of the other ones are locking, so they slide in. I think. Maybe grab the locking one. Where is it? Or is it the same? The other version for the lanyard locking system, this is to go around your leg if you were to put it on. Boop. Is just like this. So you get it to the right length, the strap to the right length, pretty easily adjustable, and then you just push the square right through and connect, just like that. And that's the other option. When donning any harness, and if this is the beginning of your capability of fall protection, make sure that you have a senior guy inspect your harness to make sure everything's tight, make sure everything's connected properly. The worst thing that could happen is you have your gear on and it's not on right. You end up needing it and it fails on you. 90% of the time, injuries occurring from falls are due to operator error. So the equipment doesn't often fail. It's how the equipment's employed. That's when it fails. So keep that in mind. If in doubt, have it inspected, and don't try to cut corners on that stuff. Now, this is your rope grab. The rope grab is what's going to allow you, especially when you're working on a roof or when you're working in some type of dynamic setting where you're going to be adjusting your fall protection gear, the length of it. When you're working on a roof, you're going to get further away from the roof, then closer to the roof. You're going to get further away from the anchor point, then closer to the anchor point, and this would be how you're able to adjust that. So the way that this works is you push this button here, depress the button, you pull this out, and basically the whole thing collapses. And then it's pretty easy. All you got to do, you grab your rope. There is an arrow here. There is an arrow right here on this device, and this arrow is pointing up, in that if you were to fall, this is the direction that up is in. So if you get confused about that, all you got to do is pretend like you're falling after this is put back together and give it a yank. Fast forward this shit. There we go. So this is where you're going to connect your lanyard. You'll connect your lanyard right here, and then you'll connect yourself to the lanyard right here, and then you'll just pretend like you're falling, and you can't go anywhere. Now if we switch this, because you hooked it up the wrong way and that's down, then you can, this is a bigger rope, you can go somewhere if you were to fall, and that would be bad. Oh goodness. Whoa, goodness. I think I did that all fucking wrong. I'm gonna redo it all. Here I have a rope grab. Here is the rope grab. The rope grab is what protects you from falling in the situation where you're on a dynamic platform or a dynamic roof. You're getting further away from the anchor point and coming in closer to the anchor point. So you can adjust how close or how far away you are with this device. So how it's used is these teeth bite down on the rope when you pull on the device. So we're going to demonstrate that right now. We're going to show you exactly how it works. Here I have a rope. We're going to feed the rope into the device. Notice there's an arrow. There's an arrow right there. That arrow should be pointed towards the anchor point. So this arrow pointed towards the anchor point. Everybody see that? Now what you do is just connect this in the only way that it can be connected, and then push the pin through. Push the pin right through, and now we're connected. The next step is you're going to take your lanyard. You're going to take your lanyard and you're going to connect it. So you connect your lanyard on there, and then you can adjust either up or down the rope very easily. But if you end up falling, which is, you know, the unlikely event that you'll fall, but that's the event that we're training for, this isn't going to go anywhere. I had it hooked up to something. In the unlikely event that you were to fall, you wouldn't be able to, because these teeth are biting down as weight is depressed on this fulcrum. So you're not going to go anywhere. But it's very easily to adjust if you just pick this up and you can move it down or up the rope.